You walk past it every single day: a laundromat on the corner, a row of vending machines in an office lobby, a self-storage building off the highway half hidden behind a gas station. You don't think about who owns them. Nobody does. But someone does own them. And that someone is quietly getting richer than almost anyone you know. Think about how much of your day is quietly shaped by businesses you've never once thought to research. The coffee you bought this morning came from a shop with a name and a logo, something designed to be remembered. But the paper cup it came in, the card reader that charged your account, the parking spot outside, those were all owned by someone else entirely, someone whose name you will never learn, someone who never wanted you to learn it in the first place. Here's the strange part. The businesses that make the most consistent money in America are not the ones you see on billboards. They're not the ones with logos on t-shirts or ads during the game. The real wealth machines are boring on purpose. They are built to be ignored. And once you understand why, you will never look at a laundromat the same way again. Most people think getting rich means building something exciting: a tech startup, a clothing brand, a restaurant with your name above the door, something people can see, something people can talk about at a party. But the businesses rich people actually put their money into are almost never the ones they talk about. Why? Because the moment something becomes exciting, it becomes crowded. And the moment it becomes crowded, the profits get chipped away by competition, hype, and attention. Quiet businesses don't have that problem. Nobody is racing to open a dumpster rental company. Nobody is pitching investors on a coin-operated car wash. And that silence is exactly where the money lives. Think about the last business you got genuinely excited about. Maybe it was a friend's clothing line. Maybe it was an app you downloaded because everyone online was talking about it. Maybe it was a restaurant with a 2-hour wait and a line out the door. Now ask yourself something uncomfortable. How many of those businesses still exist in 5 years? The honest answer for most of them is not many. Excitement burns hot and fast, and then it burns out. Restaurants in particular fail at a staggering rate. Most don't survive their first 5 years, not because the food is bad, not because the owners aren't talented, but because the entire business model depends on staying interesting in a world that gets bored quickly. Contrast that with the laundromat that hasn't changed its sign in 2 decades. Nobody is bored of clean clothes. Nobody ever will be. This isn't a new idea. It's an old one hiding in plain sight. In the 1990s, a researcher named Thomas J. Stanley spent years studying actual millionaires, not the ones on magazine covers, but the ones living next door to you. He found something almost nobody expected. Most self-made millionaires did not get rich from glamorous ventures. They got rich from unglamorous, cash-flowing, low-attention businesses, pest control companies, scrap metal yards, paving contractors, businesses so unremarkable that most people would never think to ask who owns them. Stanley called this pattern hiding in plain sight, and it still holds true today, maybe more than ever. So what is it about boring that makes it profitable? Think about it this way. Every business has 2 costs: the cost of running it and the cost of getting people to care about it. Flashy businesses spend enormous amounts of money and energy on the second cost: advertising, branding, constant reinvention to stay relevant. Boring businesses skip that cost almost entirely. A vending machine doesn't need a marketing campaign. It just needs to be in the right hallway. A self-storage unit doesn't need to go viral. It just needs an address. When you remove the cost of being interesting, more of the revenue turns into actual profit. That's the whole secret. It was never about being clever. It was about being invisible. There's a related pattern in how people invest, not just how they build businesses. When a stock becomes famous, when everyone is suddenly talking about it at dinner, that fame is usually a warning sign, not a green light. The more attention a stock gets, the more money has already rushed in chasing it, and the harder it becomes for that stock to outperform going forward. Meanwhile, the unglamorous index fund, the one that just quietly tracks the broader market without any story attached to it, keeps compounding in the background year after year without ever trending on anyone's feed. Have you noticed how the financial products that get the most hype are so rarely the ones that make people wealthy in the long run? Attention and performance tend to move in opposite directions, in investing and in business ownership alike, and once you see that pattern, you start noticing it everywhere. There's also a harder truth buried in here, one that's easy to miss the first time you hear it. Crowded markets don't just lower profits, they raise the emotional cost of running the business too.